Hello there. Today I want to bring you a few warm-up exercises for the body that are so incredible for the joints. This is really awesome for clients who have really stiff wrists, stiff hips, or stiff ankles, or just feel really disconnected from these parts of the body. So it's excellent for those type of clients. But I'm going to share with you that these warm-up exercises should be part of every client's warm up at some point to learn these either to learn these on their own, how to do these on their own, or for you to include these in a classroom. It's super important to keep our joints mobile, especially as we age. And these three joints specifically, the wrists, the hips, and the ankles, get very little love because they spend a lot of time in one position and not a lot in the other. Let me show you what I mean. You're going to come and find a wall. This is where we're going to take our warm up. We want a grounding surface for our body. So we have the wall for our hands and then the floor for our feet. So come against the wall here. Hands will be about shoulder distance or maybe a little bit wider. You definitely don't want to take the hands higher than shoulder level, and too low, as you can see, is already a lot of wrist extension. So you are going to take the hands about shoulder level, and then feet can go either hip bone distance or a little bit closer together, but not touching all the way. Now let's start with the wrists. Some clients, just putting their hands against the wall like this is too much wrist extension. So if that's the case, then you want to build up and put a little pad or hold a little towel underneath there so that way they can come in close, but not all the way. Here's our first exercise. You're going to spread out the fingers as wide as you can, and then just think about your hand like a spine. So we're going to start from the bottom. We're going to lift the heel of the hand off of the wall and see if you can get some extension here through the knuckles of the fingers. How much can you go all the way to the tips of the fingers and then roll back down without any flexion in the fingers. Now do that on the other side. And then you'll go back and forth. So you can go a little quicker like this. Now I'm doing this with straight arms, and it's kind of giving me a little bit of rotation through the spine. Another option is to do this and just bend the arm. And then the spine doesn't go anywhere. So I actually don't cue my clients on what to do with their upper body. I just have them go through this motion, and then they kind of just figure it out. Both are just fine. So once you've gotten that warmed up, you can take the hands away, give them a little shake, but that was a lot of time in wrist extension, which a lot of us need. We need to work that extension, and having that grounding force is really fantastic for that. So you'll bring your hands back against the wall. Let's next talk about your ankles. So for your ankle joints, oftentimes these get really stiff, and a great way to warm them up is just to simply lift the heel, lower the heel. However, as you lower the heel, I want you to think about spreading out all of your toes on the floor, and as the heel goes down, can the heel go backwards away from the toes? Not like you're dragging your foot, but energetically, you're planting the toes in one spot and the heel is reaching back in opposition. This is going to help you get a glide in through the ankle joint, and that is what we're going to look at for building some mobility. Now do this on the other side. Spread out the toes, lift the heel, and as the heel goes back, pull the heel back away from the toes, but keep the toes firmly planted. And notice, you could definitely do this without pushing into a wall or standing in front of a wall, but having the wall here helps us stay a little more grounded through the upper body while we're working through the lower body. So it's just a little added bonus there. Now let's talk about these hips. We'll do the same exact exercise with the ankles. However, this time as the heel lifts, I'd like you to think about really hinging at the hip joint. So as the heel lifts, I want you to think about this bone up here. Can the femur bone pull back into the hip joint and then lower the heel? Lift the heel. Can the femur pull back in? And then lower the heel. Now, what if we put those together? You're standing strong through the arms. You're lifting the heel. You're pulling the leg bone into the hip joint. This is not going to cause compression. This is going to cause connection, and this is going to help you throughout your entire Pilates program for your clients. When these hips are connected, the trunk is strong. So connect the hips. Now keep this connection. As the heel goes down, pull the heel back away from the toes. Lift the heel, find the hip connection. Pull the heel back away from the toes. Let's alternate. So lift the heel, pull the femur back, lower the heel away from the toes. Switching sides. Each time you're thinking about what is happening at the hips, what is happening at the ankles, and then you're working your wrist extension. From there, you could take this into a whole host of exercises utilizing the wall, which maybe we'll get into in a future video. But for now, just remember, a fast and easy way to warm up joints that don't get a lot of love and attention is just by using the wall.
If you enjoyed this sequence, be sure and hit that like and subscribe button. Then, check out my on-demand library of Pilates classes linked below. See you next time.